today we are going from that chapter of the tragedy into a chapter of ease.
You get your day with the Stanley Cup in your hometown of London, Ontario, and you decide to start the celebration in the London Mosque. Can you describe the significance of that?
It's part of who I am, and you know, obviously taking it back to your city, you know, walking those streets and being around that area. You know, to be the first one to do anything is an absolute honor and a privilege. And you know, that was the first time the Stanley Cup's been inside the mosque. You know, there was 10 to 15-year-old kids just kind of everywhere, and you know, had I had that experience at that age, you know, that's something that I'd never forget and I'd always remember, and you know, I think it would motivate me. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's you know, just try to motivate the youth and inspire the youth, and in doing that, you know, I learned that I kind of inspired myself.
And number 91,
Here you are now in Calgary, Alberta, a team you snubbed a few years ago.
Yep. Just, you know, this stage of my career, and I think, you know, winning's ultimately the most important thing. And with the moves, you know, Brad made in the offseason, I think, you know, made me feel really comfortable about coming to this city. And I think this is a team that can contend, and it's certainly not going to be easy. You know, we can play with anybody, and that's the plan.
He's got an open lane. Kadri moving in. He scores!
Such a great item. Thank you, Nazem. Thank you, Christine. Mayor Jody Gontak in Calgary has also been a great voice for Healing Division, so great team there. Coming up, Montreal-Dallas, the fifths and fifths. It's Stahl against Kadri, and the X-Men do the saber dance.
Hockey Night in Canada, in association with the NHL and Sportsnet.
First off, thank you, Ides of March. One-hit wonder, but it was a doozy. Vehicle, the name of the song, and more on that with Rick Bowness and his bevy of Chevys. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets coming up for you tonight on Hockey Night in Canada. Both teams fifth in their respective divisions. In Montreal, that's Alicia Moffat and a concert outside Bell Centre. wonderful Alicia Moffat sings a lot of Jonathan Roy songs. Patrick's son, Jonathan Roy, great singer-songwriter. So is Alicia. So they're going to do that a number of times outside Bell Center. You see the Dallas Stars are there tonight. Also this evening, coming up in about 3 hours, it's the Sabres off to a great start against the Vancouver Canucks, who are looking for that first win. And is that a real shot in Calgary? Is it snowing?
I like Vancouver's weather better.
I was going to say that it doesn't even look like it's on the same planet.
Kelly, I'm sorry, it's not COVID, it's a blizzard. Anyway, Kelly Rudy isn't with us this evening, but he'll be back next Saturday. And he's watching and he's texting and correcting, and I prefer him back in Calgary. Jennifer Botterill, Kevin Bieksa, Elliot Freeman. Here's Rick Bowness collects cars. Every player, when they make it to the show, they usually treat themselves to a new car. Rick Bowness was playing in the queue in Montreal in '75 when the Flames drafted him, and he got himself that '75 Corvette. I don't know if that's the right color, Rick, but you had a convertible. You wish you'd have kept it. He has had 5 Corvettes, giving himself signing bonus Corvettes along the way. This is the 99 model that he bought. We've got Carolina and Calgary. Rick's connected to all 4 of our host cities this evening. Of course, Flames, when they were in Atlanta, drafted him. He's been, of course, the coach and a player with the Winnipeg Jets. That's the 2007 Corvette, spiffy model. Hasn't got that one anymore. And there's the 2015. Hasn't got that one anymore, but he'll be celebrating it when he watches Buffalo, Vancouver this evening later tonight. So there you have it. A new car, each and every signing bonus. That's what you call a KG vet.
And that's why none of his kids went to college.
Gonna take that, Ryan. You come and correct Kevin.
Oh,
Let's get it to the guy in the driver's seat at Canada Life. Kyle Bukauskas, to you.
Well, Ron, the Leafs rolling with the fists of steel, Simmons and Clifford tonight, and these are the remnants of Darcy Oak's magical performance last night here in Winnipeg. He was incredible. He talked about sleight of hand being the best indicator of a great magician because there is nowhere to hide. Nick Robertson starts getting his hands ready as early as the morning skate. The hands of Mark Scheifele's led to 3 goals in 4 games, and Austin Matthews, some of the best hands in the league. Is this the night that he breaks free? The Leafs and the Jets, a matchup where there is nowhere to hide. Sean McKenzie, over to you.
Kyle, don't look now, but the Montreal Canadiens are right up there with the top teams in the country. Will it last? We'll see, but they are proven to be a thrilling team to watch. That was on full display Thursday. Arbor Jackeye sending a message across the league with this fight. Uri Slivkovsky picking up his first NHL goal, and in the progress showing plenty of personality. All of that overshadowing this ridiculous Datsuk-like goal by Nick Suzuki. Now, the bad news for the Montreal Canadiens, they will be without Slivkovsky. He is out upper body injury day to day. Ron.
Thank you, Sean. We're just arguing about when he got hurt. We don't know Slafkovsky's injury, but it might have been even ahead of the goal when Jackeye came in and filled in the hitter. Okay, how about Suzuki, John?
Well, Suzuki, Montreal's new captain, had an absolute beauty of a goal, a penalty shot goal in Thursday in the big win against Arizona. And if you look coming in with the poise and the patience, I mean, this is bold, but that's a great touch, and you know that his teammates absolutely loved that one. And here's a guy, right, he took some time to reflect before accepting the position of the captaincy, knows the importance of it, and people sometimes wonder, how is it going to affect a player? But at this point in the season, it clearly shows it's only added to Suzuki's confidence and fueled his performance.
Winnipeg, Toronto, last time they met in the Manitoba capital, it was a frenzy, a fierce game that really devolved towards the end. And it's not a surprise that Simmons and Clifford are in. This was the one where Spezza ran at Neil Pionk, and then Logan Stanley. They get pulled apart here before they could fight, but Stanley celebrated.
Hey, boys, is there anything better than beating the Leafs? Hey? Anything better? This goes to this guy.
Now, Winnipeg isn't the only team that feels like that. Toronto didn't like that speech, but what can you do? Everybody likes to beat Toronto. The key, Ron, and you pointed this out before when we met tonight, Kyle Clifford's first game this year, you know he's going to be excited, has to be careful he doesn't overreact, Kevin, like he did in game 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, there's a fine line. And amongst the chaos happening tonight that you just talked about, there's still a bunch of guys that want to score some goals. And Matthews and Marner, obviously, Connor, Wheeler still has none. So there's going to be some hockey played amongst the physicality, and finding a way to be productive is going to be a challenge.
Quick shout out to Chris Cuthbert. He was on August 22nd at the Met, just across the street from the Canada Life, to do an event for the Bruce Oak Recovery Center. He interviewed Scotty Bowman, was sensational. So Kyle mentioned Darcy Oak shining last night in town. Good game there, good game at Montreal. Hockey night in Canada will be your vehicle to enjoy them both.
Winnipeg, where there is some tension already tonight, and Rick Bowness's first game behind the Jets bench of the regular season after his bout with COVID. He is someone who has the respect of the room wherever he goes. The Jets were in Dallas earlier this week. Bowness wasn't there, but his former team was asked about him, and Tyler Seguin had this to say: he's just the guy that has the biggest heart that I've ever met for a coach and as a person. So Bowness like a father figure for a lot of players nowadays, which brings us to the late Edward Lenny, who is known as the father of the Northern Games. He was recognized, his legacy was with the Order of Sport a few weeks ago. His son, Hans Lenny, was there to accept it and had this to say about the culture up north.
Having pride in doing well while maintaining a humble attitude and encouraging each other to do the best they can. That's how we are.
And that's really who Bowness is. So there's some soul intersecting between the Northern Games and true North country.
That's tonight's Winnipeg Jets starting lineup, brought to you by Bulldog. Canada Life Centre is located on Treaty 1 lands, the original territories of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, Lakota, Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. True North Sports and Entertainment proudly acknowledge our role in the many relationships that make up our home and commit to a spirit of reconciliation for the future. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you're able. Kindly remove your hats and welcome back Sarah Baxter, Ashley Klimke, Bev Wynn, and Stacey Natras for the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for
It's a Saturday night in the Peg as former North Division rivals collide in an all-Canadian matchup on Hockey Night in Canada. It's the Leafs and Jets who split a pair of bitterly contested games last season, and there's been the expectation of a carryover as they renew acquaintances tonight. There's Ilya Samsonov, who has won his first 3 starts as a Maple Leaf, stopping 76 of 82. And at the other end, Connor Hellebuck back in goal for the Jets after a night off Thursday, second only to Andrei Vasilevsky in wins over the last 5 years. Nick Robertson, the toast of Toronto, after a pair of goals, including the overtime winner against Dallas. And there's Neil Pionk, who has 3 goals in the last 2 games and was in the middle of a lot of the fracas between these two teams last year. And Craig, just to bolster the expectation that it might be physical tonight, we've got Wayne Simmons and Kyle Clifford making their season debuts.
It's not often I'd say this, but it's hard to imagine that there isn't going to be a scrap of some sort at some point in this game. A great energy, the crowd's into it. and two good teams trying to get an edge.
Building, bumping, Kyle Connor over the line. He was checked. The Leafs will counter. John Tavares now over the line with Michael Bunting. Tavares slowed up. Bunting off his skate. And Hellebuyck had to be sharp on that. Rasmus Sandin was in deep. Puck turned over, and here's Bunting centering it through the blue. It'll be kept alive by Hall with another pinch, and then Bunting, stepped on the puck, but the Leafs get it back down deep. There's Pionk, who has matched his goal total from last year already, and an overtime winner and a pair against Colorado in a terrific game on Wednesday. Puck kept in at the line and sent in and around it. Off the stick of Marner, who lost it. Cole Perfetti was there. Now the Leafs are out, and it's Giordano sending it down into the Winnipeg zone. Saw a couple of early pinches by Leaf defensemen, and as you heard in the pregame show, Rick Bowness encouraging his blue line to be very aggressive too.
Especially Morrissey and Pionk, they pretty much have a green light whenever the opportunity arises.
Adam Lowry ahead, Manalainen cutting in on that left side. Third line out for Winnipeg with Morgan Barron, the former captain of St. Andrews College. On the wing, it's Zach Aston Reese, a pass across. He's on a new line tonight. Aston Reese moves up onto the third line as Sheldon Keefe shuffles the deck a little bit and gives us a different looking fourth line tonight. It's out there now as David Camp on the ice defensively. Sandin taken to the boards. Sam Gagner there along with Janssen Fialbi for Winnipeg. So everybody into the game with the fourth lines out. 2:20 into this one. Here's Sandin over the line to Clifford. His backhand fronted there. And the Jets move back. Here's Axel Janssen Fialbi, and Camp leaned on him. Clifford back in his own zone. Kyle Clifford ejected early in game one of that series against Tampa Bay last year, and this is his first appearance since.
A pretty controlled shift and kind of a coach's truce, don't you think? Fourth line against fourth line. I doubt that'll continue, though, as the game goes along. One side trying to take advantage of maybe a mismatch change.
Puck will be kept in at the line momentarily by Mete. But now the Jets will slide it inside the line. Mark Scheifele out. The man who scored the first goal here in Winnipeg this year. This just the second home game for the Jets. Beat the Rangers in their opener. How about the gauntlet they've had to run to start the season? Tough schedule to start for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, it sure is. And you've got playoff caliber teams. And one thing for Rick Bowness sitting at home and watching it was just killing him. You know, he had said it's really the only game that games that he's missed and not been able to come and be behind the bench or be in the building. So, you know, his anxiousness to get back there, and what a sight, though. Think back to 1984-5. He was an assistant coach here with the Jets. Great to see him back behind as the head coach here again.
Said he got hit pretty hard by COVID. Had hoped to go to Denver for the game in Colorado on Wednesday. Woke up that morning with a temperature of 102. So finally he makes his debut. Here's Marner in front. Michael Bunting had trouble controlling that high pass. Marner trying to get it back. He knocks down Barron. Pionk there to help out. Sends it up the boards, but the Leafs keep it in. Bunting, sharp angle shot by Marner. And that one ends up deflecting out of play.
Yeah, the long shift in the offensive zone. The chance that they had earlier, Matthews' stick got just blown up on a slash. That's what Bunting's talking about there. So he goes out of the picture but comes back in. A clearing attempt taken away, and not necessarily an angle that you'd think Marner would score from there. He just tried to get it on net. You saw Hellebuyck tight against the post and off balance. That one goes up and out.
So a face-off to the right to Connor Hellebuyck. And from the draw to come back to Sandin. Here's Justin Hall putting it on goal. And the Jets find the rebound first and send it ahead. And out they come through center. Here's youngster Cole Perfetti. Great pass. Kicked out, rebound, scores! Pierre-Luc Dubois. And the Jets strike first.
So often you see this, a good chance at one end with some good passing off a one draw, and Hellebuck able to make a save here with traffic all in front. Just gets the toe on it with 4 guys in front of him. Transition back the other way. This play's made just over the line there. Perfetti with the long seam pass, and there's a box out there that just doesn't happen. Watch as Dubois opens up for the shot, gets it, creates his own rebound, and I think that's Kerfoot that goes sliding by. That's a forward back in a defensive type play, and that's a play that Kerfoot can't make. Slides by, and the rebound right there for Dubois, and he's able to get it.
Second goal in as many games. Sheldon Keefe taking a
worried
long
offside, maybe, or?
look at this and has called the official over, so we might get a challenge.
Well, you can see the Jets saying, okay, that's enough time. The clock is running. Watching it live, it didn't seem so, and I think the end result, he's going to look. Here's how close. Wheeler makes the pass. Oh, man, is it ever close?
But too close to try or to contest it. Leafs 0 for 2 on challenge situations so far in the early season.
Yeah, and the one thing you don't want to give them another power play. You go down early in this game, and for the Jets, what a turnaround. I mean, their last game in Vegas was just a disaster in the first period, down 4-0. So to get off to a good start on home ice, get the crowd into it a bit, is right up the alley for Rick Bowness.
Dubois with goals in back-to-back games. That's shoveled away from the front of the net by Hellebuck. Perfetti with an assist along with Blake Wheeler. An important line for the Jets, their second line, and he's looking for secondary scoring, not just the Scheifele Kyle Connor unit. We should mention Nick Ehlers not available tonight.
And that's a big deal, too. I mean, Nick Ehlers is such a complimentary player, and so Mason Appleton gets the chance to go up, but you're right, you need that Dubois line to stay productive and get things going.
There's Wayne Simmons on the ice, tried to connect there with Camp. Chasing after it is Clifford. It's bumped back to the line. Morgan Riley across. Here's TJ Brody looking for the stick of Camp in front of the net. And the Leafs will regroup back at center. Time of the goal, 4:17, as the Jets have the icebreaker here tonight on Hockey Night in Canada. Camp back to the line. Morgan Riley's shot hit traffic in front. Stanley and Simmons, who Elliott mentioned, were involved last year together in some rough stuff. We're out there against each other on that shift.
They're focused on the puck in that shift, though. But as Kevin Bieksa was talking about the box out in front, you know when that line's out there, 43 and 24 are going to try to get position in front of Hellebuck and try to take his eyes away. Pretty good job by Stanley there, taking it away.
Justin Hall up ahead. There's Marner turning with it. And now Rasmus Sandin, who was hurt in Winnipeg last year, it ended his season with a knee injury and kind of was at the epicenter of all of the extra festivities. Marner sends it wide. Matthews after it. Kicks it back to Hall at the line along with Sandin. Here's Matthews, and he fanned on a one-timer with an open net, and that might sum up some of the early frustrations for 34. He's got another chance and sends it wide. Had the day off yesterday after a very physical game against the Dallas Stars, kept alive momentarily by Marner, and now out to center. But in the 60-goal season, that puck was in the back of the net, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and just the early going there, the sights have been a little bit off. The timing hasn't quite been there, and here's an argument by Michael Bunting is, I think he's going to be the one. He draws an awful lot of penalty. I think he's the one who's going to get one for interference. Matthews still, you can see, grabbing that side. Here's the penalty. The takedown is Bunting trying to get into the zone.
Austin Matthews had a pair of chances to equalize.
And you just don't see the timing off that often. He totally whiffed on that one, went right through, then gets it right back. That's the 9th shot in now 5 games in 1 period that he's missed the net on. You go back to that Jamie Benn cross-check there. You see him grabbing his left side, and that's not something you want to see. It bothered him significantly in the last game and looks to be bothering him a little bit here early on.
Power plays effective last year in the season series for these two teams. Both lit it up with the man advantage. Scheifele back to Morrissey. Connor on the far side. Dubois in the middle and parked in front of the net, providing a screen. Wheeler, loose puck there. Dubois had a whack at it. David Camp out in a penalty-killing role, unable to control. Hall knocked it down. Trying to clear, unable to do so. And now he'll, on the second chance, flip the backhand inside the Winnipeg line.
Really good help there by David Camp. As you saw, Hall trying to get it out in his backhand, almost didn't clear it, but he got support by his centerman to clear the zone.
Last year, Winnipeg 4 for 8 against Toronto. And the Maple Leafs 5 for 11. So the power plays were difference makers when these two teams split. Home ice wins a year ago over the line, and we've got another penalty.
Ontario. DraftKings Sportsbook has so many ways to get in on the action, like same-game parlays, puck lines, money lines, and more. Download the app and get in on the action.
That's Morrissey's going to go off for interference. And on the entry, you know, you always have to be careful of getting in the way. And there's Jarnkrok going backwards. Morrissey's not really even trying to get in the way, but that's one that's often going to get called. And he's laughing at it there. He didn't like the call, but good play by Jarnkrok. You feel that body behind you. You know that Morrissey can't gain the zone, and that's where that penalty often happens.
59 seconds remaining in the bunting penalty. Then the Leafs will get an abbreviated power play. Camp on the draw, but David Gustafsson able to prevail for the Jets.
How about Nick Robertson again, fresh off the playing in the overtime on 3-on-3, gets the early nod from his head coach there with the open ice and 4-on-4.
Wondered if Camp was only out for the face-off, but he remains out with Robertson in this situation.
You got a defensive-minded guy in Camp, and you got a guy who can break a game open on the other side with the puck carrier.
And you've got your A power play ready to go in just under a half minute. Here's Pionk kicking it back. And Nate Schmidt in his own zone. Jets make changes, and now William Nylander checks in along with Matthews. Here's Brendan Dillon over the line, checked by Marner, trying to push it ahead. Dillon gets it back, trying to cut in, and checked by Riley. Flipped away by Matthews, right onto the stick of Lowry. To the net, in front, Appleton just missed. Close call there for Winnipeg.
Now, this is where Marner's back playing defense. You remember Sheldon Keefe talking about that. So it was 4-on-4, but they had 3 forwards, and Marner trying to play the defensive minded almost backfired on them as they got trapped and caught, and very nearly a goal against.
Now the Leafs on the power play. Matthews off his stick, saves it for Riley. That hit Tavares, and they'll try and get it set up. These two teams came into the game with identical percentages, both power play and penalty kill. And over it goes to William Nylander. Riley across into the skates of Matthews. Good battle to get it into the slot. And a chance in front. Tavares scores! It's a power play goal, and the game is tied.
A couple of brilliant plays, both away from where the goal ended up, and then Tavares with the patience after. The old saying, you can't give a good player a bad pass. Here's a bad pass that Matthews does a great job of keeping alive. Though on one knee, gets it back up, makes the quick pass across to Nylander. And then the play in front, Nylander does a nice little shuffle pass back. And how about John Tavares here? He's got bodies, no panic, a little backhand, forehand. And you can see Hellebuck committed to himself early. As a shooter, you're looking at as soon as he goes down, you go back up the other way. The blocker just a little bit late for Hellebuck. In tight is where Tavares typically scores on the power play. Great hands to make that one possible.
Second of the season for Tavares is off to a good start. Points in 5 of the first 6 games. So back on even terms. Good strong play by Logan Stanley against Zach Aston Reese. Mark Giordano at center, along with Victor Mete. Just over 10 minutes for Mete on Thursday in his Leaf debut. Alex Kerfoot up with the puck, trying to spin off the checking of Dylan DeMello. And Cole Perfetti will flip it away. Perfetti now with points in the last 3. Lead feed, Kerfoot's back in. Victor Mente has jumped up. Clifford's shot disrupted there by Kyle Connor. Wayne Simmons trying to get it back for the Leafs. Hands it off. Camp off the bench. And Hellebuck made the stop. And Nate Schmidt was there to get the puck out of harm's way. Kept in at the line by Camp. Clifford cuts down Schmidt. That will be a penalty. And the Jets will get their second power play of the night. So just under 9 minutes remaining here in the opening period. Clifford off for tripping.
Is brought to you by Tylenol Rapid Release Gel Caps. Growing up, the Perfetti family billeted 3 different players with the Oshawa Generals. Cole Castles being one of them. There's Cole with Castles after winning the Memorial Cup in 2015. He said Perfetti he just watched as a kid, saw how hard it was at 18, 19 years old to thrive in the OHL. He was like a sponge then, and he still is now as he set up Pierre-Luc Dubois for the game's first goal tonight, Chris.
Pretty good junior himself, 111 points in his final year in Saginaw.
Looks like he's ready to make the jump, doesn't he? He's had a good start, getting critical minutes, his confidence up. Good to see.
And he's going to get the chance on that line with Wheeler and Dubois. Second power play for the Jets. It's Morrissey sending it across, a one-timer, and off Samsonov, and out of play is Kyle Connor let it fly.
Yeah, big read there by Samsonov. The key, following the pass and being able to time when the puck gets to the one-timer, he's square. Watch, he's got a body in front, so you got to look around Wheeler and make sure. Sometimes you're late on the pass, so you're not in position. There's a great example, though. That one just hits his shoulder. You see the black mark on his white sweater there as he was able to make that save.
Here's Connor trying to center it. That got to Samsonov, but he had to make a save before Alex Kerfoot clears the zone.
Boy, a little tip there by Wheeler in front, and then the rebound was right there, and a nice job of getting in the way. Justin Hall making the block and making sure his goaltender didn't have to make the save.
Over the line, Connor for Dubois. Taken out by Hall. Puck to the line, and they'll have to reorganize. Morrissey lost it to Yarncroke. Back to Hall and Brody, and Yarncroke just failed to reach that end of a shift. Might have had a partial break.
Yeah, maybe his speed wasn't up there as Brody looked skyward. A great thought, just didn't quite execute, just a little too far in front.
Adam Lowry can't get in, flipped away, and Nylander tried to catch up to that. Sam Gagner got back. Gagner on the second power play unit, already a pair of goals with his new team. Here's the youngster Perfetti, fanned on the pass. Aston Reese took it away, and the Leafs get another clear. Just a couple dozen seconds remaining in this second Winnipeg power play. Another pass broken up at the line.
Yeah, it's just been the entries have been horrible, haven't they? You think of the last power play, the entry created a penalty, which ends up with the power play goal, and now just unable to gain the zone easily. Good job of stepping up and staying on the line by the penalty killers as well.
Clifford steps back out, a pair of shots for Winnipeg on that last power play, and now Clifford digs in, looking for Matthews behind the net, taken away by Pionk. And that's off Clifford over the glass and out.
Well, Matthews on the board with an assist on that game. I said the important play in front. Watch the little tip right there on his knees, right off the toe of Samsonov. Now he's trying to slide across, and Scheifele unable to get it there as Justin Hall does a beautiful kick save there to thwart any chance.
Gustafsson wins the defensive zone face-off. Sent around the boards. Pitching there was Giordano. Covering was Matthews. That hit a body and ricocheted to the corner, and the Jets have control. Up ahead it goes off Manalainen. Barron trying to catch up to that against Mente. It'll be sent back to the line. DeMello across. Brendan Dillon right on. Easy pickings for Samsonov.
Just a little break in the action to remind you that the DraftKings Sportsbook app is available to download right now. Back to the game we love.
Well, which baker will rise to the top? Season 6 of the Great Canadian Baking Show continues tomorrow at 8 on CBC, stream free on CBC Gem. John Tavares on the ice, the goal scorer for Toronto. Hit a milestone earlier with his 900th point earlier in the week, and now goal 393. He's got a few milestones lined up. Also in reach of 1,000 games this year. Pionk, another blast. 3 goals on his first 12 shots of the season to match his output of all of last year. And that was a beauty to win it in overtime against the defending Stanley Cup champions. Scheifele at center. Connor can't find it, and now sends it down into the Toronto zone. Samsonov for Hall. Leafs start to change. Wayne Simmons unable to get that pass cleanly. Cole Perfetti dashing back in. Here's the former Whitby Wildcat sending it to Logan Stanley. Shot disrupted. And Clifford finds it for Toronto and sends it out to center.
There's another example for Perfetti that, you know, when you just get up, you probably dump that in and you don't have the patience to make a play and make a safe one. And that's what you hope to see. Do what you did in the juniors when you were successful offensively, get the confidence to do it at the NHL level.
Manalainen knocked it down. Got it back to Dillon. A hot shot. Sails high and out of play. So just under 5 minutes remaining here in the opening period. A icebreaker by Pierre-Luc Dubois, answered by John Tavares. Just kitty corner to Canada Life Centre. The unveiling of the statue to pay tribute to the great Dale Hawerchuk, October the 1st. It really is a magnificent statue and very special. I was happy to read that from his wife Crystal that Dale knew the statue was going to be unveiled, and really is a magnificent tribute. There's Matthews in front of the net, puck knocked away. 9 years with the Jets, 5 consecutive 100-point seasons, and just a very special man.
Yeah, and the statue is really brilliant. The colors just add to it so much. It really depicts Dale as jumping up into the play. What an amazing player he was, and just a great friend. It was my last roommate in the National Hockey League is when we were in Buffalo together, and just such a sad day and such a huge loss, losing Dale to cancer.
And fittingly, Crystal mentioned that Dale was home with that statue again just across the street. Morgan Riley up off the stick of Mitch Marner. Under 4.5 to go in this fast-paced opening period. Kick back to Marner up top. He'll fake the shot, give it to Matthews, shooting, and he just missed. He's had some looks again tonight. 1 goal for the Rocket Richard Trophy winner. And as Sheldon Keefe mentioned, still looking to shoot one into the back of the net. His only goal on a deflection. He makes a move there, and he got grabbed. And Matthews will draw his 7th penalty of the early season.
Really just standing still, trying to get around Morrissey, and Morrissey digging for the puck, ends up getting in the legs. So an exhausted Matthews at the end of the shift, able to draw one.
Leafs trying to extend the manpower advantage here with the goalie pulled for the extra attacker, and now Winnipeg will touch. And Morrissey will head off.
Well, for Rick Bowness back to the penalty kill. Here's that play again. Lots of traffic in front, so maybe a bit of an adjustment, trying to get it through the legs. Did it miss by much? Yeah, it looked about an inch or two to the left. And then now, right, just trying to weave his way around Morrissey. You know, as a defenseman, he got caught. You get your stick in between a player's legs. Almost impossible not to take a penalty there. Interesting for Sheldon Keefe. He gets a little veteran move by Samsonov. This group was dead tired. The Matthews-Marner line was out there for quite some time. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a little look down to Samsonov and say, hey, you got a little bit of a skate problem. And basically, this is the timeout that allows the first unit to start instead of having to go with the second.
John Tavares scored the Leafs' 5th power play goal of the season. One that Sheldon Keefe has mentioned isn't quite in rhythm yet. And again, 5 for 11 last year against the Jets. Nylander up top along with Riley, who gets it back from Matthews. Tavares in front where he scored. Marner to Matthews off the side of the net. Marner's got it again. Mason Appleton, Mark Scheifele start on the kill, and down in the corner, Marner in some difficulty and very slow to get up. As Scheifele starts back, Logan Stanley moves up, and he wired that. And Marner's gone to the bench. Out comes Tavares. And across it goes Riley in front, and a good stick there by DeMello. Riley, Matthews, and he blasts that about 6 inches wide.
Again, just not able to get it between the red posts there. He was a little bit of a fade back, was Matthews. A little frustration on the bench by Marner. He's mad as he wanted a call in the corner there, but it's a good sign that he looks like he's going to be okay and stay in the game.
5 shot attempts for Matthews here in the first period. Alex Kerfoot to add a power play goal against Dallas to Robertson and Sandin. Back to Nick Robertson, and Sandin will shoot it. Knocked down in front of the net. Yarncroke couldn't find it. Connor clears.
Great play by Nate Schmidt there. They just get in front of the traffic, don't allow anything through, and a really good skate block to alleviate that pressure.
Kerfoot talked about how important entries are for this second unit. They say they don't get much time, so if they don't get it in, they really don't get any chance at the power play. In here cleanly, and Sandin across. Robertson shot off the stick of Barron, who tests it to make sure it didn't break. Kerfoot back to the line again. Morrissey getting set to return. Kerfoot walked it in. Sandin fires, and that one just missed after a tip. And now Morrissey returns, still pressure here. Bunting in front, and it jumped the stick of Yarncroke and back the other way.
There's Pionk again. He's finishing off Bunting, and they're jawing at each other. You mentioned his impact on the last game. Well, he was trying to use his body effectively again there.
Jets with a kill. Sandin to the line, and that's offside as Camp brings it in.
You know, Mitch Marner still, he's got a little action around his face. He got hit hard into the boards on the turnaround. Oh yeah, it was. Looked like a bit of an elbow there, and he hit the dasher board. So his reaction, looking to see if he's got a call, didn't get it. Got himself back. And then defensively, just a great job of using your stick. You know, he's unable to get to Tavares body to body, but DeMello just tracked the puck, did an excellent job of chipping that one out of harm's way.
Leafs had 6 shot attempts on that last power play, but did not get one on net. And it remains tied at 1. TJ Brody sends it in. Nate Schmidt with a shoulder check. Wayne Simmons is there, along with Aston Reese. Here's Zach Aston Reese working the end boards. Comes loose. Camp ties up Stanley. Now into the final minute of this opening period. Big Logan Stanley, 6'7", 228. Flipped in the air. Wheeler got bodied there by Simmons. Brody ahead, and Simmons will redirect it into the Winnipeg zone. Wheeler heads off. Up ahead it goes, and it's Dubois battling along with Hall, who knocks it around to the far side. Nylander after it. Back at the line, Pionk. Morrissey shooting. That went off Tavares wide. Robertson back in his own zone. 15 seconds left in the period. Leafs trying to break it out quickly. Nylander walking in, and he shot that one wide. Didn't get all of that, did he? And back the other way with time running down. They've got a 3-on-1. Scheifele at the horn. Stopped by Samsonov. Good first period of play. The shots 9-8 in favor of Toronto. Pierre-Luc Dubois, John Tavares exchanging goals. Coming up, Ron McLean, along with Jennifer Bottrell, Kevin Bieksa, Elliot Friedman.
Tavares at Winnipeg, Pavelski, Hoffman at Montreal. To the point in the first intermission with Elliot Friedman in for Kelly Rudy this week, and Jennifer Bottrell and Kevin Bieksa. And Kevin, let's start with the hit Marner took. What'd you think?
Yeah, let's take a look at it. He's obviously cut up. I think it's incidental, the contact. Marner is protecting the puck. DeMello's going to approach him. It's a cutback. It's not really a lot of force by DeMello, and obviously Marner probably hits his head into the glass a little bit. Visor cuts him. Yeah, that actually angle looks a little bit worse, but at first glance from behind, which is the view that the referee has, it didn't look like there was a lot of force. So looking back now, maybe it could have been a penalty call. He's obviously a little bit banged up, but he'll push through, Elliot.
Well, pushing through, and we've seen players play Matthews really tight, right? An example of that, he drew one penalty here in the first period tonight. Morrissey took the call. I mean, last season, Matthews drew 14 penalties for the entire regular season. He's has 7 that have been called against him already this year. So for him, trying to push through that, be creative to find those openings, but he is taking a lot of physicality.
I also thought the other night when they missed the one on Ben that Toronto got rewarded after because they had 8 power plays after that one happened. You know, Montreal, I didn't think I would say this, but I'm really enjoying watching them this year. You can tell they have no pressure on them, and they feel very, very confident.
Arbor Jackeye, great block, and sets up the goal with a beautiful pass. Michel Therrien said a young team will play with more fire and more confidence in their own building.
Yeah, well, we're seeing it with Montreal, and it's a young team, and when you're at home, it's different because everybody's cheering for you. If you're an offensive guy, you get the puck, and there's an excitement, and on the road, it's not that way. You have people cheering against you. It seems like the other team's more physical, and they're being rewarded, so certainly there is a confidence from playing at home. I felt like in my career, I fought a lot more on the road than at home. For that reason, I felt like our skill guys were more in a groove and more comfortable at home, and sometimes a little bit rattled on the road.
Okay, no pressure.
You just called your teammates.
I know. As I was saying, I was like, oh, I'm kind of burying them a little bit.
But I feel like Montreal, I mean, they don't have anything to lose right now in terms of playing without that pressure or expectation, right?
Let's parse and analyze some choices of words by coaches, starting with Sheldon Keefe.
For everything our team has been through together, that's unacceptable. We got to be way more responsible. Our best people have not found the rhythm, so maybe really look at it. The difference between us and Arizona is that we have elite players. And our elite players didn't play like elite players today. Couldn't make a difference. I used some of the wrong words to try to describe what I was trying to describe, which is that the difference in the game I find is just we weren't able to produce. By no means was I meaning anything beyond that, which is what I wanted them to be sure of.
Elliot.
You know, my rule when judging something is how would I feel if someone said that about me? And maybe it's because I'm used to Kevin telling me every week how terrible I am, or I spend too much time on social media and I've desensitized to everything. But I saw nothing there that Sheldon Keefe needed to walk back or apologize or clarify for. I do see a coach who is under pressure, who feels that after losses, if we play like this, we're going to be in big trouble. But I don't think he had to apologize or walk back or clarify anything.
So yes, there's a lot at stake, but at some point there needs to be a level of composure. And if you're a player, if you're one of their top players that wants to produce offensively, to get called out at this point in the season, there has to be an inner confidence and trust in the process. And I think some of these comments, and then him backtracking on those comments, is recognizing what do your players need at this point to be successful. So there's going to be a time where there needs to be intensity and demanding more from your players. But I also feel like you need to have this inner confidence and trust in your team. Yes, high expectations, but just I think you need to be a little more composed in some of these situations.
There's only so much you can do as a coach, and words is one of them. You can use your words to motivate, to criticize, and I think in this case, and you kind of said something different before the show, Elliot, but I kind of agree with what you're saying is there's not a whole lot there, whether he, like we're focusing on the elite players comments or not, like maybe he could have used different words there, but certainly this criticism, if you even want to call it criticism, can be handled by Matthews and Marner. I think they would be offended to think that we think they're offended by those comments. That's the way I feel. I don't think Matthews or Marner for a second are sitting there thinking, well, Sheldon Keefe just really ruined my confidence with those comments. I think as a coach, you're entitled to say that. And to be honest, I don't think there was a whole lot there either.
But if you combine that with the reaction of Dubas when they were going for the goal challenge as well, I mean, do you not think there was a little element of perhaps overreacting? Yes, there's a lot at stake for this organization, their positions, of course. But at some point, you need to be calm in the process. I mean, this team, There's a difference between you want to win and you have to win. And right now, these are examples of a coach and the management who feel like they have to win. And it's not going to be a perfect season. There's going to be moments. How are you going to handle it to convey and to have a contagious confidence for your organization?
I think in that particular case, it was because it was the second game in a row a review was going against him. And I had a bunch of people who said to me they actually like seeing that from Dubas because normally he looks like a bit of an automaton, so they thought it was good to see him look so
Do you think
emotional.
Matthews and Marner care what Dubas is doing in the suite, though? No. Really? I don't. Like, I feel like you're so focused when you're a player, and these are two elite players in the world. I don't think they care so much about the reactions or the words.
Matthews, right?
Yeah, one thing I would say is that I think some of those guys handle things very differently. And I have said this, and people have said to me, you're criticizing Marner. No, I'm not. My point about Marner is I think he does feel it a bit more, particularly because he's from Toronto. And I think they do try to be careful to manage the extra pressure he feels.
Coaches for every athlete, they're going to be a little different.
Same thing happened in Vancouver, but we're not going to get a chance.
We will, though.
Okay.
Bruce Boudreau, I know you're tuned in. We'll do yours, not in the second intermission, but in the window between the telecasts as we continue our coverage. A pair of ties so far this evening at Bell Centre and Canada Life Centre on Hockey Night in Canada.
Yes, you're such an icon. This is the SM Bets Big Board presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Our same game parlay is alive because both teams scored in the first period, courtesy of Pierre-Luc Dubois, who has his second goal of the season, and John Tavares scores the 14th of his career against Winnipeg. The Leafs are still the favorites right now at -155, and over in Montreal, Joe Pavelski scores his 10th against the Habs, and salute to Mike Hoffman, who scores his first goal of the year. Both games are 1-1, and the Canadians are still the underdogs at +140 as they are trying to win their third game in a row. You can get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook tonight. You can use the QR code to download the app right now, and we remind you to play responsibly. Back to you, Ron. I hope your head's okay, bro.
It's good. Thanks, Gabby. 1-1 in the two games. I just lost my thought. Okay, Chris, Craig, and Kyle in one game. John, Gary, and Sean on Hockey Night in Canada next.
Bruce Oak Recovery Center that officially opened its doors just over a year ago. The Oak family, such a huge part of the fabric here in Winnipeg. As mentioned off the top, Darcy Oak returned home this weekend to perform his magic in front of his old neighbors. As we get a shot of, there he is there with Leslie and their daughter, beautiful August Annie. Scott Oak, meanwhile, in Vancouver right now, getting ready for the Canucks and Sabres, still to come tonight on Hockey Night in Canada. You will see him in his usual position on After Hours with guests this week, Luke Shen and Jim Rutherford. Chris and Craig.
But again, it was reinforced last night who the real talent in the Oak family is.
Darcy, the illusionist at the Burton Cummings Theater. It was quite an evening. What an entertainer. There's Austin Matthews looking on. And Chris, we mentioned the point-blank shots. He missed 4 attempts in that first period, and that's just not something you've been accustomed to seeing. See if he can get something going offensively here in the second.
Shots were 9-8 Toronto. Shot attempts 24-17. Comes back to the line for Schmidt. That went off Robertson. And TJ Brody sent it across ice. Following up was Morgan Riley. Robertson on the ice. He had a pair of shots on goal for the Maple Leafs. That one over the stick of Appleton and right on Samsonov. Riley ahead, Robertson off the boards, out of the reach of Nylander. Leafs are changing, and the Jets work through center. Blake Wheeler in his 50th career game against Toronto. Riley got it to Sandin, who bumps that ahead. Rasmus Sandin with 7 hits in that physical game against Dallas 2 nights ago. Matthews unable to come up with that puck. And now Riley will take control. Sweeps it ahead for Nylander. End of a shift for he and Robertson, who flicks it in. Played out. That went almost off the ear of Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah, as a forward, you're looking at your D, and he puts one right at your head. Got a little bit of a chuckle as it came back to Pion.
Here's Bunting, sends it across. Matthews back. And a good stick there by Pionk with Bunting in a pretty good spot. Now Lowry turns it back. Here comes Pionk. Cut off by Bunting. Marner working his way in, and a nice stick there. Giordano followed. That went off the shaft of the stick, I think, of Connor Hellebuck, and out.
But good long stick, as you all know where the first pass was going to go. Turnover in the neutral zone, costly. Good job by Bunting. A long pass, and I thought Marner just rushed it a little bit too early, and that allowed Pionk to make the play, but good job by Giordano coming through, and you're right off the knob of the stick for Connor Hellebuck to make that save and up and out.
Kerfoot gets waved. Järnkrok in on this face-off. And the draw won by Lowry. Adam Lowry will send it back, and looking up ice to Mello. Morgan Barron on the left side. Here's Lowry putting it through the blue paint, and Aston Reese will look up ice. Long lead feed off the skate to Järnkrok. Mentioned Aston Reese moving up to the fourth line. That fourth line for the Leafs that played the first 5 games. For the last 2, they only had 1 shot on goal. Didn't have a shot attempt against Dallas. That puck gets past Mete and down, and that perhaps is another one of the reasons why Sheldon Keefe has changed it up in the back end.
And Sheldon did also say he's given them some defensive zone typically coming into the ice, so they don't get an offensive-minded shift very often. They've had some tough matchups, but sooner or later you just need to look at what the other lines will look like. I think this has always kind of been a work in progress to see what he needs physically or skill-wise from that, even the bottom 6.
Mete ahead at center. Kyle Clifford got a stick on that. Hellebuck will sweep it away from the on-charging Leaf forward. Played out by Camp, and the Leafs will regroup. Here's Wayne Simmons through center. Checked by Gustafsson. Manalainen will play it back, and now the Jets starting a change. Manalainen was headed off, got the pass. Kept in at the line, and now dropped in as that Jet change is complete.
You can't help but wonder how different it is for Rick Bowness to now be behind the bench looking at his team, not on television looking at his team. It's so different. He said much easier there. Things seem so slow, and he's got to get a feel for, okay, what you just mentioned, that third line, the Gustafsson line, and what's that makeup going to be? So a lot of little adjustments here for him in his first game back behind the bench.
Credited Scott Arniel, Brad Lauer for doing a terrific job in his absence. Nylander to the net, and he flipped that high as he tried to go up top on Hellebuck.
Download the BetMGM app and play with the king of sportsbooks and casinos.
I think this is a case for Nylander. Just take what you're given. He's thinking pass, and then I think at the last second, oh, I've got the lane, I might as well cut in. That might have even warranted a harder cut in and try to get around, and the quick hands got a little too high as Hellebuck stood his ground and really didn't give him much. I think he was surprised, though, to go in unabated there.
Rick Bowness had to wait an extra week to be behind the bench for the first time with the Jets as Marner tries to break in. He's had to wait a little longer for his return to the Jet bench from the last time he was the coach of Winnipeg, April 2nd, 1989. So 33 years, 6 months, 20 days between coaching assignments here in Winnipeg. Fans react. The officials do not, as it's sent back down into the Winnipeg zone. Bunting hustled after it, given away in front. Matthews stopped, backhand stop by Hellebuck. Another chance for number 34.
That came off the legs of Bunting, though, as Dubois thought he had all kinds of time. He was just sort of casually going back there, and the pressure came on the turnover. The fans with wanting a call. They're both kind of going, their arms are locked, and down he goes. I'm surprised you didn't get that. Could have been a chance. Look at the quick look back and go, oh, got pressure, and that pressure creates the chance. A little bit of a bouncer, and then Hellebuck sliding across to his right. You saw he kept that glove above the pad and able to make the save.
little conversation at the Leaf bench between referee Graham Skilleter and Sheldon Keefe. And it looks like the face-off coming down into the Toronto zone.
Yeah, and there you just see Matthews. You wonder what's going on in your mind. You know, when you're so accustomed to the puck going in, it is a bit of a mind change. You got to keep everything going from a positive standpoint. Keep that confidence that has got you to where you've been, and you'll go through little stretches where these kind of things can happen.
A year ago, he scored 28 on the road. He scored 33 against the Western Conference.
Well, you know, he only had 1 goal in the first 6 games last year. So it happened very similarly a year ago. And you know how that ended up. So you've got to believe that and keep thinking that way if you're him.
Kerfoot tried to drop it for Yarncroke, gets it back. Aston Reese in front, Brody moved up. And now the Jets may have a break. Back the other way is Pierre-Luc Dubois. Wheeler drives the lane off the goal post. And now the Leafs will counter. Here comes TJ Brody along with Yarncroke. Kerfoot out of gas, and he'll head off. And over on that far side, it's Kemp.
Little release there by Dubois. I mean, that one trying to use the screen, the quick little wrister, beat the goaltender, but off the post and out.
All across, Rasmus Sandin. That's shoved away by Hellebuck. Clifford in the corner, dug out by Camp, but the Jets get it back, but they don't clear. Justin Hall sends it right on. Rebound to Dubois, and he'll flick it out to center ice.
Yeah, he's at a minute 50 right now, so he needs to continue on to the bench, which he does.
Goal in the first period, goals in back-to-back games for Pierre-Luc Dubois, who had 28 last season. All turned back, then off the boards out to the Winnipeg blue line. Janssen Falaby over on the left side for Manalainen, who was out walking the dog yesterday and ran into the new coach, so they've got a chance to get acquainted a little bit more. Here's a break, right in! Samsonov with a nice stop there. Off Nate Schmidt. What a dash by the Jet defenseman.
Well, the seas parted there for Schmidt. Earlier on, you've got a chance at one end, ends up in an odd man rush at the other. Dubois with his head up the whole time, uses the feet of Riley with the screen, but off the post and out. A little collision with Hall in all alone. Samsonov equal to the task.
For the most important local and international news stories, join Ian Hanaman Singh on the national stream free on CBC Gem. 6:46 gone, second period. Game tied at 1 apiece. Pierre-Luc Dubois and John Tavares in the first period. Tavares facing off against Scheifele. Giordano up ahead. It's tapped by Robertson. Brendan Dillon sends it around, a touch pass for Scheifele, and all over him was Tavares. Robertson will bring it back in. Brendan Dillon takes over. Up ahead, and the Jets are out. Nate Schmidt sends it down into the Toronto zone. Tavares ties up his man. Work loose and off the boards for Nylander. Back to Giordano, rink wide, cut off by the other 55 on the ice. Here's Kyle Connor in after the takeaway by Scheifele. Shot hits the leg, and Mason Appleton's on it. Appleton moving up in the spot, usually occupied by Nick Ehlers, who is out for another week to 10 days. The Jets told us this morning. Away goes Pionk. He'll chip and chase it in against Riley. Marner along the boards, and that pass reached Giordano. Breakaway feed, looking for Bunting, cut off, and back comes Lowry. And a drop pass and a block by Giordano. A loose puck, DeMello shot. Hit the traffic in front. Couple of opportunities there for Winnipeg. Back on its Barron. Halifax product, leaves it in the corner, and then it's played a hit by Matthews. Out comes Toronto. Bunting will chip it in and try and get around big Logan Stanley. To the near side, up the boards it goes, and Gagne checked there by TJ Brody. It's offside as Bunting played it inside the line.
Well, it's almost a 2-minute shift, getting stuck in. Just a great job of getting in the shooting lane as Gagne trying to slide that one through to the net. You know, Rick Bowness talked about giving his defenseman the green light on the other side, and you saw Neil Pionk jump right up there and make that play, dump it in. Well, it almost ended up with Bunting going in on a breakaway, but he said our forwards have to understand that they've got to get back and give cover, and it was Adam Lowry who did get in that passing lane, turned it over, and that ended up being the scoring chance that Giordano had to stop.
You heard Rick in our pregame show talking about looking for 40, 45 goals from his blue line this year. That puck off a skeet, and Hellebuck's got to pounce on that.
Well, and you look at just the coordination of your forwards and your defense. If you know that you're out there with Pionk or Morrissey and you're a winger, you got to have your eyes up. I mean, that's part of your responsibility. If you look ahead and you see number 4 or 44 jumping in, Nate Schmidt will do that as well, then you got to be a lot more cautious. And that just comes with a bit of a different philosophy if your defense are going to be more active than maybe they were last year. As Kevin Bieksa, defensemen never trust forwards, so it's always the forward's fault when someone gets caught.
Wheeler from long range, that'll stick to Samsonov. Catch 3 hit shows in a row on Sunday Night Primetime, featuring Heartland, the Great Canadian Baking Show, and Moonshine tomorrow at 7 on CBC. Just to finish the point, Dylan DeMello was criticized for a play the other night, and Rick Bowness today said no. DeMello did the right thing. The forward didn't back him up, and he's trying to reinforce that there's a big responsibility for the forwards to help the defensemen be more dangerous.
And the game's pretty much similar for every team in the league, but your head coach has a few different nuances that you have to get accustomed to.
Here's Bunting, Sandin's jumping, a pass for Matthews. Trying to get by Perfetti, and now a counter, and Blake Wheeler's away. But Sandin got back to steal it for the Leafs. 9.5 into the second period. Who's going to break this 1-1 tie? Pass over the line, and Janssen Fjallby buffeted there by Hall, and then Hall got run over. At the line, it comes across for Schmidt. Still looking for his first points of the season. Nate Schmidt, Janssen Fjallby, Brendan Dillon off the shoulder of Samsonov. Big blast there. A push here by Winnipeg. Manalainen had his man tied up. Leafs trying to clear it now. Marner scoops it away, and David Camp unable to take that pass. Matthews will step up. Pivots away. What a move! And stop, rebound! And down is Hellebuck. Another stop. He made 3 to keep the game tied at 1.
Well, you got the former Vezina Trophy winner going up against the current Hart Trophy winner, and boy, what a sight this was. Great hands and patience by Matthews. Gets around the waiting defense, gets one chance at it, right on the doorstep with the rebound. How about the pad of Hellebuck to shut the door?
Matthews admitted earlier this week he's still trying to find a rhythm in his own play. Coming off the 60-goal season, you look at the slow start in the early going and some other prominent names that have gone through something similar. He was saying this morning we're still trying to scratch the surface in terms of what we're capable as a group, and his start really a microcosm of that, Chris.
Well, Kylie gets stopped there, but you saw a good sign, didn't you?
Yeah, that was just your instincts taking over. That was not a pensive or a guy who didn't have confidence. I think the one thing, as any scorer will tell you, it's almost at times you just black out. You just do what's natural to you, and that was a very fluid movement that looked like he was back.
He has scored 9 in 16 career games against Connor Hellebuck, who got the best of him on that last sequence to keep the game tied at 1. Here come the Jets. Lowry shot, and that'll be gloved by Samsonov.
Want to bet? You can do it at Canada Sportsbook. Sports interaction. Made for Canadians by Canadians.
Well, Chris, how about Ilya Samsonov? the start of this season, you had to be thinking, okay, Matt Murray's going to get his opportunity to be in a good spot, and all of a sudden Murray's down early on. He comes in relief in that second start that he had. He's undefeated. He's looking confident, and what a great start to his tenure as a Maple Leaf.
Logan Stanley through traffic, and Samsonov saw that at the last moment.
And almost the announcer's curse right there, and that one almost went in off the tip.
Cycled back by Appleton. Connor left it as DeMello put it to the side of the net. Maybe a chance here, and Scheifele looked to go backdoor for Appleton. Pressure from the Scheifele line here. Appleton being watched by Giordano. Back to Logan Stanley at the line. In and around. Connor going to get there first. The big trophy winner last year, a 47-goal scorer. Mete hit, but moved the puck ahead, and the Leafs are out with Kerfoot over the line along with Järnkrok against Stanley. There's Kalle Järnkrok getting it to Kerfoot. Matthews goes to the front of the net. Played around to the near side for Sandin. Rasmus Sandin from Matthews. That shot was disrupted, and the puck comes back out to center. Now Appleton takes it away from Marner. Sends it across. Here's a play in front, but Bunting came over, and now Dubois will get it back. Here, Luc Dubois checked by Sandin, but extra effort to get that again. To the line, it's Morrissey for Pionk. That didn't miss by much to maze the Flames. Big number 80's been a presence. He gets nailed there by Hall. Here, Luc Dubois drafted number 3, 2 spots after Austin Matthews in the 2016 draft. Marner gave it away, but got it back, and now heads north. Matthews back to Marner. The late man, Sandin, and that blocked. Nice block in front by Manalainen.
Looked like a glove save, didn't it, as he was falling back. That one gets through. You got 3 Maple Leafs crashing the net.
Here's Nylander trying to find some space. Walks it in. Robertson's in front. Hasn't been able to find it. Riley will shoot it. Hellebuck out of the blue paint. And able to find it before anybody else.
Well, Hellebuck just trying to look through traffic on the last play, but the other one here on the rush, you got 3 going to the net. If this one gets through, Matthews is right on the doorstep, as is Bunting. Manalainen does a nice job of getting it. And then now it's just a battle for the loose puck. As Kevin was talking about trying to box out, you got 4 Winnipeg Jets trying to keep everyone to the outside and allow their goaltender Hellebuck to find that loose puck. And Hellebuck won the race.
Shots now 19-17 Toronto. Tavares wins the draw. William Nylander tracked by Schmidt. Shot from the point. Robertson looking for a tip. Riley's in deep. Brody across for Tavares covering the point. Turned aside by Hellebuck. Morgan Riley again. Here's Riley working in, centers it. Tavares couldn't make contact backdoor. Swept back by Brody. And Morgan Riley's all over the offensive zone. He's got it again. Trying to spin off the checking of Janssen Fjallby. TJ Brody. Nylander trying to get by Brendan Dillon. In front, Tavares off the bar. Tavares thought it was in. He raised his stick, no red light. Michael Bunting. Nate Schmidt will flip it outside the line, and that ends up in the Leaf bench, and we'll get a look at how close John Tavares came.
Well, you don't think face-offs are important? All that effort came off of a 1 draw, and here it is, right off the bar, twice, and out.
Esso has big news. Now you can...
Here since COVID, and the fans being entertained to a good game that's starting to become a goaltender battle.
Yeah, you kind of would have thought offensively this one might be a little bit of a spark plug, as last year it was 6-3 in this building, and then it was 7-3 in Toronto. But, you know, Connor Hellebuck is, as he always does, facing lots of shots. He's been solid, and I mentioned Samsonov before. Right? I think he's been a really good calming factor in the Leaf net.
Mark Scheifele's shot blocked by Giordano.
And what an opportunity for him to really start his time here. Take a run, see how far it can go.
Wayne Simmons got in behind the defense, scores! David Camp follows up. And the Leafs' fourth line has given Toronto the lead.
You go with a hunch, you make a change. Sheldon Keefe said he wanted just a little bit more energy. What these guys bring is energy on the bench. Well, now that's one way of getting everyone up and high-fiving all around, as it often does. It's a centerman down low. Camp made the play from behind his own net. How about this little pass? Maybe a bit risky, but it finds its way through. Camp didn't even know he scored. He just went hard to the net. Simmons between his legs. Scheifele can't get it, and coming in deep comes David Camp. He made the play behind his own net. He puts the puck in the net at the other end.
Second of the season for Camp, and Sheldon Keefe mentioned that whenever Camp scores, it just seems to be a big goal. The Leafs, regular season and postseason, are 14-0 when he has scored. But Wayne Simmons a factor in that, and the Leafs had their first lead of the night. Let's see how the Jets respond with Wheeler, Dubois, and Perfetti.
And you know, you're just trying to make a little competitive on your bench. Competition for lines and ice time.
Here's the third line, and Yarncrook wired that just wide. Big hit there as Hall taken to the boards by Dubois, who's been a physical force tonight. Buddy Simmons, Clifford go in the lineup. You think the Leaf hit totals will be high. They only had 5 in the first period of play. Matthews breaks up a Winnipeg advance, and Sandin will flip it back into the Jet zone. Marner on the forecheck. Camp from Simmons and Clifford at 14:34.
How many had that one on their scorecard?
There's a chance, and Samsonov with a big stop, but Morgan Barron went into the crease. And the first starts to fly.
But you know that Rick Bowness say, okay, we got to have a response here. You're on home ice. You get down in a game. Guys on the other bench notice when a fourth line gets a goal for your opponent. So trying to come right back, and there's that quick release, Barron, and nice job of Bunting trying to clear away. Look at Samsonov, though. I mean, it doesn't even affect him. He never even looked up. He's down in a position, not allowing that puck to come across in a pass. He gets it between his pads, finds it there, and with all the chaos in front, you know the goaltender dialed in, just never even took a look. I guess we shouldn't be all that surprised. Here is Ilya Samsonov in the National Hockey League, so call him Mr. October or whatever you want. He's been pretty darn solid, and last year a 9-0-1 run. Wouldn't the Leafs love to see that repeat here again?
Pretty easygoing personality, at least you get that sense from all the interviews, and I guess when you're unbeaten, you are going to be loose, but he loves to talk about after a win, he could smile the next day, and he's still smiling.
And hey, he took the opportunity. He could have gone maybe on a longer deal somewhere else. He looked at Toronto and said, I think there's going to be a chance for me to prove what I can do. And here he is with Murray gone. The net's his, and he's taking it and running with it quite effectively.
Jets trying to push back here as Pionk moves up again, drops it off for Scheifele, sends it across, off the stick of Appleton, and Scheifele off the side of the net. But the Jets have come close. Look out, Nick Robertson got run over, and we'll get a response from Morgan Riley. Couple of 44s going to battle here.
And you got Tavares and Scheifele too, that they've got their gloves off in a wrestling match at the blue line.
So we kind of expected this could happen, but these aren't the guys we expected. But Riley going to the aid of Nick Robertson after a hit that will draw the initial penalty against the Jets.
And I said sometimes when it's that line that scores against you, it's a double effectiveness. And you see the reaction there. So Morrissey trying to make something happen, goes for the big hit, takes the penalty. And there was absolutely no hesitation by Morgan Riley. He and Brody immediately came. As Robertson, he's focused on the puck, just gets out of the way. Arm up. Brody trying to get there. He gets taken by Appleton, and Riley just came in and made sure, okay. Boy, that was an awfully close call, wasn't it? And Robertson looked like just saw him at the last second, so maybe was able to bounce out and not get hurt that he could have been. But Morgan Riley with the gloves off, the 244s. And then John Tavares with Scheifele. I'm not sure if they're going to get a penalty as well, but the initial call clearly was the Morrissey one.
So will it be roughing to those two, or a 5 with an instigator to Riley?
I said at the beginning that there was bound to be a bout here in this game. I didn't think it would be 44 against 44.
You didn't have Clifford and Simmons assisting on a go-ahead goal?
Not at all. I said, though, that kind of reaction is often from your opponent when those kind of guys score against you. It's like, okay, we got to find a way to do something here.
Morrissey's gone to the room. Riley will too, so that...
Yeah, they're gone for 5 anyway.
5 for those two.
Rick Bowness is having a pretty intense conversation. I don't see how the Leafs don't end up with a power play here, but I don't see the extra one on the board as of yet.
Just wondering if Riley's instigator wipes out the initial one or not. That wouldn't explain why Rick Bowness isn't happy.
Right. Boy, it's a dangerous play for Robertson, though. You could see that Morrissey knew there's an opportunity to make a big hit and have an impact. I don't think Morrissey didn't get caught with Riley coming in at him. He was expecting somebody to be coming up and dealing with him.
We've talked a little about Clifford and Simmons and a different look, energy. Do you think the Leafs felt that Dallas took liberties on Thursday?
I don't think it was so much even just Dallas. I think you had a listless game against Arizona. Didn't have a lot of energy. You had kind of a listless start against Dallas. Well, now look who you got on the ice here.
You've got Clifford and Simmons out against the third line of Winnipeg.
So Riley gets the extra aggressor, obviously.
And so they continue on at even strength. David Camp, whose goal is the difference now. Got it back from Simmons. Camp swooping in. And 11 goals last year, which was a career best. He's knocked down. Simmons sweeps it around. Mark Giordano sends it in. So Riley, unsportsmanlike in a 5-minute major. Morrissey interference in a 5-minute major. Centering play. That went off Hellebuck, and out come the Jets. Over the line it goes, and there's a Gustafsson shot blocked. Hit along the boards, and it's gloved down by Manalainen. David Gustafsson to the line. Schmidt will fire it across. Brendan Dillon redirects that. Manalainen parked behind the net, and he gets bounced off by Austin Matthews, who's been physical this season. Coming into the game with 16 hits to lead all Toronto forwards. Sent down the ice, and icing waved on the play. Schmidt up the boards, knocked down there by Matthews. Bunting to Sandin. Justin Hall on the right knee. Moves down low and tries to pivot away from Perfetti. Matthews up high. He'll get it back and fire, and that hit a leg. Blocked in front to Blake Wheeler, who blocked the shot. Starts the counterattack to Perfetti. Dropping it off. Here's Wheeler in. Walking right in. And he lost the handle, knocked away, perhaps by Bunting. Samsonov was down and out. At the line, Pionk. Dillon called for it. Watched by Marner. Perfetti trying to pick the pocket of Hall. Got knocked down, and that's going to draw responses. Dubois wrestles down Sandin after that hit. And we got an episode of the Game of Thrones going on behind the Leaf net.
On Dubois didn't see that there was no arm up, so there was no penalty going to be called on the hit, but his reaction very similar to Morgan Riley's, just no hesitation whatsoever.
So the temperature rising considerably here in the late stages of the second period. And Dubois continues to jaw with Sandin and what would be a physical mismatch.
Now here's the play behind. Perfetti lifts the puck up. He's got his numbers there, and Sandin gets the elbow on the numbers, and there's Dubois. Now you got Bunting. He comes into the mix as well. It'll be an interesting one. You go back to last season. You mentioned it. No love lost. There's the Neil Pionk hit that ended Sandin's time, and then, of course, guy who's upstairs watching this one is Jason Spezza. Got suspended 4 games.
Kyle Clifford, Brendan Dillon fought in each of the matchups last year. Wayne Simmons had the incident with Daryl Stanley, or Logan Stanley, excuse me. Daryl's from another fighting era.
So you get your big bodies in the lineup if you're the Leafs, and they're not the ones who are involved in really anything at this point except on the scoring sheet. You can make your judge there. I think Perfetti, when he lifted his legs up a bit, that's why the arm didn't initially go up. So the reaction of the crowd was instant, and Rick Bowness trying to figure out, are we getting a power play or are we getting a penalty? Or are we going to be 4-on-4?
Or are they going to be a man short? Brendan Dillon is in the box, and that's the extra 2 minutes on the board at the moment, and it's going to be a Toronto power play.
Well, one thing for sure, in his first game back, his voice is going to get a workout as Rick Bowness looks on.
So the Leafs get their third power play of the night. Tavares, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Sandin stays out. Mason Appleton along with Adam Lowry, the penalty killers for Winnipeg. Austin Matthews on the puck. Rasmus Sandin across. Gets it back from Nylander. Here's Matthews down low. Marner takes a long look, back door. And Tavares unable to convert on that. Now it's Tavares who opened the scoring on the power play for Toronto. And the fans showing their displeasure with the fact that the Leafs were given this power play. Matthews up top. Scores! Fired that in. Did Tavares get a tip? The Leafs have a 3-1 lead.
You look at the reaction of Tavares. It sure looked, he reacted like he got a piece of it. Just a killer power play goal as well. You mentioned it. You think the Jets were thinking, okay, we should have a power play here. Instead, you're digging the puck out of the back of your net. Good timing here by Tavares. Just going side to side with the puck movement. Matthews gets an opportunity to get it in, and there's Tavares. Look at his reaction. That's the reaction of a guy who feels like he got a piece of it, and there it was. As Hellebuck thinks it's going right into the glove. That little tip at the last second drops it down and underneath his arm. Tavares with a pair from in tight. And there's your reaction on the bench. Take advantage of a bit of a gift of a power play, and just like that, you've got a 3-1 lead.
3 goals on the year for John Tavares, 394 in his career. And Austin Matthews has assisted on 3 of the last 4 Toronto goals. Sandin also draws an assist, 18:56, time of the third Leaf goal. Here in the final minute of the second period. Mete across, and pass to Reese, fanned on that. Kerfoot along the boards against Schmidt. David Kemp getting it back. Here's a centering play, and Pionk is there, and he'll stride out for Winnipeg. 4 Jets through center, and it's played in deep by Scheifele. Gets it to Connor. His feed to the point didn't reach the target, and the Leafs will dump it back, and time running down in the second period. Here come the Jets, a stretch pass, maybe one more shot at the horn. Stopped by Samsonov. Shots 23-19 through 40 minutes. David Camp and John Tavares on the power play, the goal scorers in the second period. 3-1 after 40 minutes here in Winnipeg. 32 thoughts coming up in our second intermission.
Thirty-two Thoughts presented by GMC and the new Sierra AT4X. Jeff Merrick and Elliot Friedman. And Elliot, what do we hear on Brendan Gallagher? Anything yet?
Well, we'll get to Gallagher in a sec. Let's do Josh Norris first. And so Ottawa had a great week. They won 3 in a row, including 6-2 over Arizona today. But at the end of that game, Josh Norris goes off. And, you know, you could tell he was frustrated right away. From what we understand, they're going to have an MRI, but first some of the swelling's got to go down. But you hope he's all right. You don't need to see the good young players out of action. You could tell he's worried by his reaction. As for Gallagher, no update yet. Gallagher, for those of you who are watching Montreal, he stepped on a discarded stick, played one shift after, and did not return. This injury happened on his first shift of the second period. And then here's where he steps on the stick. One shift with about 12 minutes to go, then did not come back. We'll see what happens with him. Hopefully, he's okay, too.
Okay, so Jacob Chychrun, the sweepstakes conversation still continues. The Arizona Coyotes defenseman is with the team right now, but he's not playing. Probably going to be a couple of weeks still until we see Jacob Chychrun playing with the Coyotes. This is the wrist injury. Now, look, the Arizona Coyotes want to trade Jacob Chychrun. Jacob Chychrun has also asked for a trade. The price for the defenseman remains high. It's essentially the equivalent of 2 first-round draft picks plus. So that would be a combination of prospects, picks, and players as well. The Coyotes were in Ottawa this afternoon, as we all know, and listen, it doesn't sound like the Ottawa Senators, although there has been some talk between the two, they don't want to let go of Shane Pinto or Ridley Gregg or Jake Sanderson or anyone like that. So as Elliott's reported, there doesn't seem to be a path there, Ron. But you look to other teams that have a deep prospect pool and maybe the need for someone like Jacob Chychrun. I think we're all starting to wonder more and more about the Los Angeles Kings.
Elliot, you had that heating up on the Jeff Merrick radio show. And Jeff, the show was just great this week. Peter DeBoer, the interview on Tuesday, wasn't that great? Yeah. And Jason Robertson, obviously, for your podcast. But the other nice moment came when you talked about Jack Rathbone and just said, it's hard to separate the human from the hockey player for me, folks. So don't expect an objective observation. But go ahead on, Rathbone.
Well, you know how I feel about Rathbone, the greatest number 3 to ever wear, greatest to ever wear number 3 for the Canucks over Kevin Bieksa. But he's going to make his season debut tonight. And look, there's nothing nefarious here. The Canucks were putting in their best lineup they thought to win, but Rathbone wasn't playing. And I think Vancouver knew if he didn't get in, the situation was going to get to somewhere where a decision had to be made on what his future would be. So hopefully Rathbone stays in the lineup. They don't have to worry about this, but I think everybody was worried about what would have to happen if he didn't get in the lineup. Now, something similar is playing out with the Carolina Hurricanes and Ethan Bear, who has not yet played this year. Again, I don't think this is anything nefarious. The Hurricanes are icing their best roster, they think, but Bear wants to play. He hasn't played yet. Now, from what I've been told, the Hurricanes are telling other teams, look, we don't have a cap problem. We're not keeping 50% of Ethan Bear's salary if we're not getting a good return or we're getting a minimal return. We believe this is an NHL player. They've been close a couple of times. I think Vancouver was one of the teams, but Bear wants to play. So either in the next little while, someone's going to make the offer better or to make Carolina say yes, or maybe he gets in the lineup, or maybe he goes on waivers. But I also think this one is coming to a head because Bear just wants to play like any player would.
Stay with you for a moment. Australia for the NHL.
Yes, so sometime over the next week or two, the NHL is going to be having a site survey in Australia. And it's nothing firm, but I do believe the league is looking at playing a couple of games there. And the question, would it be in early 2023 or maybe in 2024? But there will be a site survey underway, and that's a road trip I would like to go on.
Right. Finally, the Hockey Canada file.
Okay, yeah, Ron, as a follow-up from last week, so the nominating committee, very busy this week with interviews, talking to people about various positions within Hockey Canada. And here are some of the names, not all of the names, but some of the names that we have heard. Haley Wickenheiser, Hall of Famer, she was talked to this past week, as was Danielle Sauvageau, gold medal coach, as we all know. Therese Brisson was interviewed as well. Now, I think a lot of people see her maybe as a successor to Scott Smith as the next CEO. We'll see. Former NHLer Andrew Ference was spoken to this week, as was Brad Morris, the former chair of the board of the CWHL, and also someone from the nominating committee telling me this afternoon that Future Hall of Famer and one of our colleagues here, Cassie Campbell-Pascal, was also spoken to. The first order of business for the nominating committee is to find and name a board chair that can attract a diverse board, a strong board as well, and one that I was told will help lead a cultural revolution, or evolution rather, within Hockey Canada.
Excellent, men. Short break, frisky game going on, as you know, at Canada Life in Winnipeg. When Bobby Orr was hit by Pat Quinn, it was a case of a left-hand shot coming up the right-hand side. And that's always tricky if you lose your side of the puck. Watch what happens to Nick Robertson. Actually, almost happened to Tavares, too. But there you go with the big hit by Josh Morrissey. The boomerang effect. Everything circles back. Kevin and Jen join us next. His childhood pal Sam Gagner. The two Oakvillians head-to-head in that one, 3-1 Toronto. Esa Lindell late, but it's Jack Eye, the story of the game. Arbor scores his first in the NHL. Here's Kevin and Jen. Let's start with the Winnipeg friskiness, Kevin.
Yeah, well, just the general friskiness of the game. And I think we expected it to be a physical game like this, but probably thought Simmons and Clifford would be more involved. But it's guys like Morrissey. This hit right here, I thought on the one view that Robertson does touch the puck. I don't think that should have been interference. It's one of those games, if you're a Jets fan, you hate the refs. If you're a Leafs fan, you hate the refs. Love Morgan Riley's response there. He kind of got an instigator, was worded unsportsmanlike, but sticking up for his teammate was great. This no call on Sandin here. If you're not going to call it DeMello, you can't really call that one. But this is what ensues. Dubois coming to his teammate's aid. There was a lot of that. I think we're entertained by it, but I think you want to be on the right side of the penalties. Jets got hurt on the power play.
Well, I feel like we were saying, too, with Robertson, though, you're sort of surprised that he didn't have a look up when you're coming up the boards that way. And you think maybe that call could have gone on Sandin for the officials to have control. But for Winnipeg, they've got a little hill to climb here going into the third period. But one line who's shown a good level of chemistry is their second line. And all three of them have been really involved in the play. Here's a look. Perfetti had the nice pass across on the Dubois goal. Wheeler was going to the net for the distraction. Here's Perfetti, young 20-year-old player for the Jets. Just makes a sound play in his defensive zone, then hops into the rush. Nice low stance, making sure just misses on the finish that one, but putting himself in a good position. So this is what they want. Jets want all their players during the rush being involved in the play. Here's a good look. Dubois just misses on the far post on this one. And here, just a great hold by Wheeler into the zone. But again, these three guys showing they've got some chemistry. I like the awareness piece on Perfetti there for the back pass. Just great patience by Wheeler there and a miss for them. So some good offensive zone time for that line and a good balance for them.
Arbor Jack Eye.
Yeah, Jack Eye. I love when a guy scores his first goal, watching the reaction of his teammates, and you see it all here. This is a special one, first NHL goal, seeing Rister from the point. But I'm wondering, was he more pumped up for his first fight in the NHL the other night, or this goal? Seems pretty calm right here.
You said you were.
I was more pumped up for my fight. It was similar to his at home. Crowd was going wild. The goal's great, too, though.
And a great pass. Just an exceptional night, but they got a little bit of a hole there, down 4-2, and it's 3-1. The visitors lead by a pair in both games on Hockey Night in Canada.
Ahead, but first, Kyle Bukauskas caught up with Sheldon Keefe.
Sheldon, you said you wanted more energy out of your lineup tonight. What's been your view from the camp goal onwards, that period?
Well, I mean, obviously that's a big goal for us in that moment by that line. So that you need those type of moments in games for guys to step up like that. You know, and then it's been a pretty tame game all the way through until, you know, there's a big hit on Robbie there, and that raises the temperature. I loved how our team responded, and then once again later in the period we responded well, both in that moment and on the power play that followed.
Sheldon, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Chris and Craig.
First time the Maple Leafs have led after two. And another first time they've scored 3 consecutive goals this season. Rick Bowness's team down by a pair with 20 minutes on the clock here in the third period.
Yeah, and this is a matchup we've seen a lot in this game, the Scheifele line against the Tavares line. And, you know, Bowness just looking for that first goal, get a little bit of energy. And you hope that Hellebuyck can just shut the door and your team can come back.
Jets advance through center over the line. It's Mason Appleton. Rolls it to the near corner. Nate Schmidt will move up, trying to fire that across, but blocked by Brody. Victor Mete off the stick of Nylander and out to center. Appleton back. Pionk has led the Jets in ice time tonight, trying to spring Scheifele. And now Rasmus Sandin, long bank pass for Kerfoot. Stanley's there. Kyle Connor off his stick. Following up, Blake Wheeler trying to charge in. Mark Giordano out to center, and that one taken at the Winnipeg line by Kerfoot. Off the boards, Marner didn't see it coming. Around it comes, backpedaling Giordano with Perfetti. Red line and in for the Jets. Samsonov out of the net. That went off a leg and nearly gave up a chance for the Jets. Maybe something here. Schmidt put it in front. Dubois fires. And a nice stop there by Samsonov. Another chance in front. And Samsonov robbing Blake Wheeler. Got in trouble with the giveaway, but makes two sharp stops.
Yeah, bailed himself out, didn't he? You know, that has been one thing that Curtis Sanford trying to work on. It's something that's haunted him in the past, overplaying the puck. He gets behind, has a quick look, but not a quick reaction. It goes off of Perfetti. Now you're in a little bit of a scramble mode, and in tight, he's forced to make two good ones. This one, the best, is Wheeler in tight off the blocker through the traffic there, and you know that as soon as you make that mistake, you try your best to stand up, and you make a couple good saves there, did Samsonov, to keep it a two-goal game.
That line has the goal for the Jets and has been dangerous tonight. The youngster Perfetti, the veteran Wheeler, and Pierre-Luc Dubois, who leads the Jets with 4 hits. An icing call is made. Well, an epic battle on the ice. Watch the special series Summit 72 stream free on CBC Gem.
It does take a little getting used to not seeing the captaincy on Blake Wheeler, and you know, respectively, he's got to have been shocked. It had to be very difficult personally to deal with. I thought Rick Bowness and he handled it as best you can. A decision was made on a leadership group, a new coach coming in wanting a change. That's a tough one for a player to handle, and I think Wheeler has handled it pretty darn well. And in this game, as I said, he's been an effective player.
Here comes Matthews charging, and a backhand goes wide of the net. That's the 46th shot attempt for Matthews this year. And Marner with a shot that deflects high and out of play.
You know, as I mentioned, you just got to keep doing what you do best, and that's handling the puck, using your skills, your speed to the outside. It's just another good play, though, of Dylan, keeping him to the outside, not allowing that shot in. And, you know, at this stage, Chris, you mentioned the goal that he did get was a tip-in goal. He had 7 of those last year of his 60th, so maybe you need something like that. When the puck's not really feeling it for you and you're not getting your shot, get to the tough area. Maybe another one will hit you and go in.
Camp won the draw. Sandin played the bank. Hellebuck is out of position, and it comes back to the line. Hellebuck misread that bank, and he's just going to eat it here and live to fight another day.
Well, what a bad feeling. You know, he just froze because he didn't want to overreact. He knew he'd overslid. Traffic is always something to find this puck. Look at him. He's peeking up and over, not sure where it is. Now he realizes, uh-oh, it's coming off the backboard. Didn't try to overreact. Wasn't sure where it was, but didn't panic. And that's a pretty good job. You know, usually you get a sense on your home ice what it'll do off those backboards. That was a strange bounce that came up about 3 feet in the air.
Scheifele out, but Camp wins the draw. There's a block by Scheifele. That stung. Camp from up top, and he sails that shot high. Simmons leans on DeMello. Goes back at DeMello, but out comes Kyle Connor along with Scheifele. Mark Scheifele over the line. Stanley hopping up as well, but Sandin slows things down. Takes it to the end boards, back up top DeMello. Logan Stanley, he'll play that ricochet. Jets are on it. Centering pass, and Connor from a spot where he likes to be, shot it wide, and that one will be absorbed by Samsonov. Scheifele and Simmons ready to go.
I think here's your call that's going to give the Jets their power play back. There's a lot of talk, the non-calls, as the studio was talking about Simmons, though. That's number 24. Unsportsmanlike, he takes the play. How about this block here by Scheifele? Where does it get him? Oh, right in the top of the foot, and you can see the anguish in his face. He ends up with the puck at the other end, makes a nice pass. Another guy who's just can't quite find the back of the net right now is Connor. And then there's, after the end of the play, that little shot, and the reaction was immediate. So this is one for the Winnipeg Jets. You got to find a way. The Maple Leafs got their opportunity at the end of the second, scored on the power play tip by Tavares. This is a must score for your power play here to get you back in the game.
Pierre-Luc Dubois directs traffic, but it will be Scheifele on the face-off against Kemp. Leafs have had an edge in the face-off circle, but the Jets win this one. And there is the 47-goal man, Connor. 2 shots so far tonight for number 81. Wheeler to Scheifele. In the slot, Dubois took a swat at that. Connor after it, but the Jets find it, and it's played to an open point and back down into the Winnipeg zone. Pair of shots on 2 power plays so far for Winnipeg as it's sent ahead for Dubois. Now Connor moving on that left side. Wheeler will play it back to Pionk. Kerfoot challenging him. Nice play by Wheeler to swing away for Giordano in front. It's Dubois, and he grazed the post with that, and it will boomerang back into the Winnipeg zone.
Another one for Dubois. You saw the one in second period off the post and out the other way. That one just a rocket, but unable to find the post and in.
Scheifele back in. Dubois up top and a big blast, and looked like Samsonov just got a piece of that, and it's out of play with 56 seconds remaining.
Yeah, got a couple of good looks. The pressure out high, made a couple of quick plays, and then good patience there by Wheeler. He's trying to hit Scheifele, but it goes right through the cross on the stick of Dubois. Right through off of the stick of Scheifele, missing the shot, and a hard shot that goes right under the glove and just grazed the side of the post. Almost hit Wheeler and dropped down. It might have been a chance, but there's your best chance of the power play so far.
93 mile an hour from Dubois there. Digs in on the draw, puck comes loose, and Connor with Aston Reese chasing him. Wheeler behind the net. Hall got a stick on that, but it reached Scheifele. Wheeler's pass off the stick of Kemp. Now it's Josh Morrissey. Scheifele back. Morrissey fires. Shrugged away by Samsonov. Retrieval by the Jets. Picked up by Aston Reese. And he'll roll it down, and the Leaf penalty killers will change.
A good read by Aston Reese there. Just that's the only option was that cross side-to-side pass. Took away the passing lane and cleared the zone.
Gets back in with 15 seconds left, and that shot, Samsonov swimming a bit, but no shot yet. Morrissey back across, and that one hit traffic in front. Gagne feeds the point. Morrissey again. Kyle Connor in the corner. Gagne now parked in front. Here's Connor swiveling it back. Shot right on, and Samsonov will cover. Simmons back on the ice. And the Leafs get an important road kill here early in the third.
Yeah, a little frustrated power play there. They had some pretty good looks and opportunities. Here's a shot that gets deflected just enough in front. Look at it, hits the glove. The glove's turned around by Samsonov there, but it still makes the save. Connor with the reverse pass, and maybe one of those times earlier when they had the chances, Chris, they overpassed it. That time there, the quick shot, and Samsonov holds on and gets the face-off.
Just one shot, but plenty of pressure on that last power play for Winnipeg. Here's William Nylander taken to the end boards. Jets will feed it ahead. Gagne with a good pass. Mete knocked down the cross-ice pass intended for Morgan Barron. Lead feed at center. John Tavares with a pair of power play goals. That shot was blocked. Mete follows and plays it down low. Brendan Dillon, Tavares gets it. Robertson knocked down as he was unable to pivot away. Nate Schmidt will take over. The Leafs retreating on a change. Barron sends it in 6 minutes into the third. Riley back out now after serving his 7 minutes of penalty time. Bunting at the line. Can't get by, and they'll reroute at center. Brody into the skeets of Bunting. Now Gustafson onto the right side. Janssen Fjallby, and that shot flipped wide on the backhand by Manalainen. Here's Stanley off the stick to the far side of the ice. Dylan DeMello moved up, and Riley takes over for the Leafs. Breaking was Bunting, but that was intercepted by DeMello. Jets send it back in and start a change. TJ Brody ahead for Toronto. Here's Aston Reese for Kerfoot. Aston Reese drives to the net, and Kerfoot sends it high. Ball plays it back in. Aston Reese works the boards against Pionk. Rubbed out there. An outlet, and here come the Jets. Morrissey onto the left side. Perfetti trying to get by Hall, but Hall takes him out. Rasmus Sandin flips just inside the Winnipeg line.
Right now the clock just the enemy for the Jets too, and try to get that puck in deep, get some sustained pressure. Everybody's going with short shifts, and the Leafs just trying to keep advancing things out of their zone. Force the Jets to go 3 zones to get anything.
Here's a break here for Tavares working his way in. Turns around and fires it wide after the steal by Robertson at center. Nylander trying to play it to the net. That was fronted by Schmidt. Mason Appleton backtracks.
You don't really see the Leafs D jumping up all that much right now. They're staying back cautiously. Expect the Jets to send guys each and every time.
Shots now even at 24 apiece, and make it 25 for Winnipeg as that off Sampson off to the line, but not out. Connor on it again. Tracked by Giordano. Kyle Connor from the corner. Works it up high. Morrissey keeps it alive. Down low, Scheifele. Into Connor, right on. Couple looks for Kyle Connor from that spot here in the third. He'll play it back to Pionk. Neil Pionk can't find a shooting lane against Simmons. And now loose for Tavares. Connor took it away. Simmons trying to clear it, and he'll just get it out to center. Jets mounting a push. 8:40 here in the third period. Back in they come. Gagne sends it in. Barron on the forecheck. Riley there for the Leafs. Moved it to his partner, Brody, and out. Marner chases after it. Up against Pionk. Back to the Leaf line where Kyle Clifford had it knocked away. Maybe a chance. Samsonov, the stop, loose in front. And Riley came back to find it first. Now the Leafs through center. Matthews drives the lane. And a pass for Matthews just out of his reach. That one will slide out to center, and Hall bumps it back to Marner. He'll flick it in, and Marner heads to the bench on a change. Michael Bunting on the forecheck against Gustafson. Shoveled out to center, played back in by Hall. Around for Manalainen, who tries to track that down against Rasmus Sandin. Hall off the boards to Järnkrok. Dylan moved up on him. You're right, that clock is draining. 10 minutes left here in the third.
And really just the one shift where the Jets got the D a little bit tired, a long shift, but the Leafs just keep trying to advance it forward, chip it in, and force them to try to gain the zone yet again.
Not many whistles here as Perfetti plays it back. Over 5 minutes without stoppage, and we'll get one there on the icing call against the Jets.
Desjardins Financial Group, a proud part of communities, a proud fan of hockey wherever it's played.
Another good scorer who's trying to get on the board is Kyle Connor, and he kind of got lost up high and then came right into the slot. You can see Robertson was just a little bit late there. Didn't get all that shot that he wanted, but Samsonov in great position, able to make the save.
Leafs control the draw. Down low, the Jets play it up the boards, but Mete had moved up to stop Perfetti. Far side Tavares. Brendan Dillon there to knife it past him, and the Jets are out. Nate Schmidt leads the rush. Pierre-Luc Dubois over the line. Picked off by Robertson. He'll turn it back. Tavares and Nylander catching up. Nylander going to the net, and he deflected that just wide. The Leafs come close on the counterattack, but here comes Winnipeg again. Morrissey and Robertson got back to knock it off his stick. Riley up for Simmons. Simmons turns back and defers to Brody. Gets it back from Brody. Over the line, but a good stick check there by Morrissey. Pionk to work. Flips it in, and Samsonov out of the net again. Look out! He gets caught again, and it stays out. It's an adventure, it seems, every time he touches the puck.
And there's the defenseman Pionk going. His speed was what created it all. He dumped it in and went right after it, and I don't think Samsonov was expecting the defender to go all the way that down and get there that quickly.
There's David Kampf in deep. Kampf. Right now, his goal would stand as the game winner without any further Winnipeg scoring. Puck kicked loose by Sandin. Aston Reese knocked down. Under 8 minutes left here in the third. As Connor sends it down into the Toronto zone and starts another Winnipeg change. Rasmus Sandin trying to hit Yarncroke right past him to Hellebuck, and Adam Lowry's got some room. He's on the move. Leaves it for Gagne. Gets it back from Gagne. Looking to center. Gets it again. Brendan Dillon at the line. That shot tipped, and a late but quick reaction by Samsonov.
Oh, Samsonov just kind of taking a breath there. He didn't see that one coming. Twice he's had problems behind. That one up off his back, around, and somehow stays out of the net.
MasterCard, the latest innovation from Rogers. Over $400 in average value in the first year. Apply now at rogersbank.com/connections.
Some people will do anything to save their family business, even if it means breaking the law. Moonshine, tomorrow at 9 on CBC, or stream free on CBC Gem. Our stats man Jason Murdoch on his game tonight, informing me that it's only the second time Simmons and Clifford, there's a shot wide of the net, have assisted on the same goal. The last came back in 2011 when they were teammates with the LA Kings. Kyle Connor trying to make this a one-goal game, and a swing and a miss in front by Scheifele, and Matthews is out. Bunting on the left flank, trying to cut in, and he stopped by Hellebuck as the puck went off the goaltender in the side of the net. Matthews fanned from the slot, and it's taken away by Pionk. Riley behind the net. Scheifele comes up with it. Looking for Connor off his skate and out. Josh Morrissey back, and the Jets making changes. The Leafs in the midst of a change as well as Marner hits off. Wheeler tried to hit in, over-skated the puck, and here's Robertson on the counter, leaves it for Nylander. Nylander trying to work his way in. 88 against 88, and Schmidt won that battle. They're still piled up at the other end. Dubois over the line, bumped there by Sandin. They had words earlier. Brendan Dillon to the net, loose in front. Coming back was Robertson to get it out of harm's way. John Tavares solo mission, and he is stopped in his tracks by Schmidt.
Boy, that rebound at the other end. Dubois was just out of the reach of it as Samsonov kept it in front of him as opposed to going to his left. It might have been a tap-in had it gone there.
Under 6 left here in the third. Still 3-1 Toronto. Victor Mete around for Kerfoot. Across for Brody. A little too hot to handle off his skate. Kept alive by Barron. Unable to connect on that pass. Gagne's moved up onto this line, and here's Stanley. Samsonov just gets a piece of that. Samsonov now with 29 saves in the game. Logan Stanley to work. There's the big man working his way in, and Samsonov's got that. So it's been another solid night for the new Leafs goaltender. Ilya Samsonov now with 29 saves. Been an interesting night here in Winnipeg. 5:04 to go as Rick Bowness tries to coax his team onto a comeback. What a stretch for the Jets to open the season. The Rangers, Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, Toronto, St. Louis here Monday. Leafs starting a 5-game road trip here. They've got Vegas next, then San Jose, LA, Anaheim. We'll be in LA next Saturday night. Here, Luc Dubois, the lone goal scorer so far for Winnipeg. John Tavares has a pair for Toronto as he sends it in and gives chase against Pion.
Keep moving, guys. Keep moving, guys. Play it, Josh. Keep playing.
Officials tell him he's not going to blow the whistle, and finally it comes loose, and Scheifele's going to head up ice. Hounded there by Nylander.
No urgency for the Leafs there to do anything. It's the onus is all on.
We'll find out who will be crowned this week's Star Baker on the Great Canadian Baking Show tomorrow at 8 on CBC, stream free on CBC Gem.
The net was off down by Connor Hellebuck, and so that's why the whistle went. There's a lot of pointing and looking around. What an opportunity, though, for the Jets as the puck was in the offensive zone. They didn't have control of it, but because the whistle was there, now they get an opportunity off an offensive zone face-off to try to make something out of it.
Face-offs 23-21 Toronto on the night. And David Camp wins a key draw in the defensive zone there.
He was only 38% on the night, too, so that is a big one, and on a night where he hasn't been as good.
Ball works his way in. Sheldon Keefe may have shortened his bridge here. He's got Camp with Yarncroke and Kerfoot. Wonder if Clifford and Simmons have done the job for the night.
I think that's their last one.
Dylan shooting that. A maze of players in front, and it didn't get through.
Hellebuck looking at his bench, seeing if he wanted to come out. I think Rick Bowness was looking to see if they control the puck or not.
Trying to get it in front here. Perfetti behind the net. So is Wheeler. Comes loose for Dubois. Bumped by Sandin. It nearly got to Wheeler. Knocked off his stick by Hall. Big news during the preseason. Sheldon Keefe talked about going with 4 forwards, having a forward play defense. This would be the kind of situation where you might see it for the team behind.
Absolutely. Try to get the extra offensive body out there. You're not worrying yourself of having to defend too much. I wouldn't be surprised if Hellebuck follows this puck up.
Of course, he's got his top offensive defensive pair, and Hellebuck is going to the bench. 2:48 left. Jets have the extra attacker on. And Mitch Marner flipping it to the line. Past Morrissey. Bunting trying to track it down. A backhand scores. Michael Bunting puts this away for Toronto.
You know, a couple of determined battles. One deep in the corner to just keep the puck going north and out of the zone. And then Bunting, I think, just surprised using his speed to just track this one down. There's a little flip up. Morrissey thought he could maybe pin that one on the boards. Bunting takes a quick look up, and he gets there before that lane is taken away. Mitch Marner, just a perfect little curling rock down there that, boy, he even caught it on the roll with the backhand to basically end this one.
Just watching to see if he was looking for Matthews
I did too.
there.
Matthews was behind, but there was two bodies To his defense, there was 2 bodies in between he and Matthews, and you don't want to turn that one over and find it in the back of your net.
Matthews takes an assist along with Marner as the line mates all conspire, and so that does bring Kyle Clifford and Wade Simmons back for a curtain call here with just over 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, the proverbial mop up here for the last 2 minutes.
Adam Lowry, watched by Camp. Dylan DeMello sends it in, and that's played by Mete ahead. Clifford up towards Simmons. And those 2 assisting on the goal that stands as the game winner tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned the tough schedule for the Jets. How about St. Louis coming off a 2-0 shutout win in Edmonton? They're the next one in here for the next home game. It doesn't get any easier, does it? That's some pretty solid teams that this Jets team has had to face to start the season.
Nylander works his way in. Hellebuck got a piece of that. Rick Bowness said we're playing all these Stanley Cup contenders. We want to show that we're in that conversation too. Here's Tavares. Aston Reese takes the spot of Nick Robertson late, and there's a shot right on. Nylander again. The captain off the boards to Hall and back. Tavares sending it in as Rasmus Sandin ventures in deep. Leafs are changing. Nobody in the area. That's the little room for Brendan Dillon. Final minute here in Winnipeg tonight. Teams traded goals in the first, 2 for the Leafs in the second, and an empty netter by Michael Bunting here in the third. Kyle Clifford will take a bump but play it in behind the net, and Hellebuck will leave it there. Gustafsson guides it back with under a half minute to go. Now he heads north. Flips it in past Samsonov. Morgan Riley around. Simmons has got lots of room and time. Works his way out to center ice. Lost it there. Manalainen back, and the countdown's on. The Leafs will start the 5-game road trip with a 4-1 win here in Winnipeg and head on to Vegas for a game on Monday night. So the Leafs move to 4-2 on the season, while the Jets fall to 2-3. John Bartlett and Gary Galley standing by. Let's head to Montreal for the conclusion of that game.
Savard has got it. And welcome viewers that were watching the Leafs 4-1 win in Winnipeg over the Jets tonight. A Joel Pavelski. And it's scooped up by Ottinger. The Raptors are playing in Miami tonight.